You know, of everyone I've ever met, I only know one person who didn't really connect with Avatar: The Last Airbender. His name is Dom, and us idiots play games sometimes on this channel over here. Self-plugs aside, my point is that Avatar is a show that is almost unanimously loved. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for its successor, The Legend of Korra. There isn't really one big consensus on Korra the way there is for Avatar. The one thing people can agree on is that it's not as good as its predecessor, but opinions can get pretty extreme. Personally, I still think it's better than most shows out there, despite its flaws. And believe me, there are plenty of flaws. The second half of season 2 alone is enough to dock a few points off the assignment, but there's also a lot of charming characters and natural world building. Where the worst thing you can say about Avatar is that the first season is a little too goofy, or Aang's solution to Ozai is a little too convenient. Things here are a lot more complicated. Honestly, Korra is a hard show to break down because a lot of the time the pros column and the cons column are basically equal. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad, which is why this video is a bit of a Gemini, if you know what I mean. See, this video is focused on what I like about Korra, but I'm also going to make another video on all the things I don't like. So if you're a hater, don't worry, your time will come, just trust me. But for now, we're focusing on the fun stuff. So let's talk about something I like. For starters, what about the way Korra is structured, with a different central conflict every season, has been argued about a lot. It's very different from Avatar, and arguably a bit messier. Where Aang's story had one central conflict driving the story forward in the background, Korra is faced with one smaller conflict at a time, with the resolution coming by the end of each season. Personally, I'm a fan of this. I do think it leaves less room for characters to just mess around and be weird, but I also think it helps Korra's story have more narrative weight to it. I mean, the last season of the show is entirely based around this structure, with Korra's internal conflict being centered around her previous antagonist and the trauma they induced. Do I wish the seasons were longer? Well, yeah, but I think the writers generally managed to do a lot with the time they have. The whole reason they chose shorter seasons in the first place was to have each season's conflict take center stage, and I do think that's why the villains of each season, save for Big Weird Guy over here, are really memorable. In Avatar, Ozai was more of a force than a character. He was the central conflict, and that conflict isn't what made Avatar such a deep and beloved show. While yes, the big finale is satisfying and cool, the best parts of the show are the quieter moments in between the big booms. But Korra is all about big booms, and honestly, I fucking love that. It suits Korra as a character really well, because this girl can't even meditate at first. And boy, does she love some action. It's much more fast-paced than its predecessor, and it uses that to tackle more topics and explore more questions. Each season introduces a new ideology or philosophy, and being exposed to the extremes of these varying ideas helps Korra become a much more balanced person in the end. I really like that about this show, but I can understand why some people don't. That's all I got. Let's talk about some villains. Jesus Christ, Amon is so fucking cool. You took this character design, gave him a unique and terrifying ability, an understandable motivation, and gave the role to my favorite voice actor ever? Are you fucking kidding me? Talk about great first villains, this guy is perfect. When I saw him take away someone's bending for the first time, I was floored. The only other person we've seen do that is Aang, and he learned from a giant lion turtle, so like, what the hell is this guy's deal? He scares you, and more importantly, he scares Korra. While Amon is an incredible antagonist all on his own, the fact that he's Korra's first big bad makes him work perfectly. Why, you might ask? Because at the beginning of the show, Korra feels damn near untouchable. You see her kick ass again and again and again. She's a pro bender, she already knows 3 of the elements, and she's got a silly, not so little polar bear dog. Who the hell is gonna beat her? Try Steve Bloom in a mask, that's fucking who. First time you see Korra afraid is when she sees this guy do his thing. That's how you set stakes for a villain, my friends, by setting your hero up and knocking him down in the dirt. Which he does. He beats her hard. Korra doesn't stand a chance against this guy. I don't think anyone does. Why? Because of the season's twist. He's a fucking bloodbender, and not like Hama was a bloodbender, no siree. See, he learned from his abusive piece of shit father how to be the best bloodbender, as in he doesn't need the full moon, as in he doesn't even need his hands. So how does he get taken out? Korra can't beat him, Tenzin couldn't beat him, Lin, Mako, Bolin, Roku, Momo, Kyoshi, Ozai, Zuko, or Azula couldn't even beat this guy. I'm willing to put money on that, by the way. DM me for my PayPal. Well, Korra reveals a secret that he's a filthy bender, and then his brother blows him up in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, I mean, I guess that'll do the trick. What a beautiful scene though, god damn. What else can I say? His relationship with Tarlok is a little layered, and you can tell there's still a bond from the trauma they faced as children. His abusive father motivates his hatred hatred for benders, and I think we can all relate to having some daddy issues. Maybe not as extreme as this, but you know, you get it. The non-bender uprising is, well, serviceable. The political themes of Korra are something I'll get into in the next video, but I think it asks a lot of interesting questions about the role of benders in society. There's a comic that did something similar, but I'm not here to talk about that. Alright, one great villain down. Let's talk about Zahir. What? We're talking about the action instead? I mean, okay. The action in Avatar was never bad. Some set pieces are much better than others, but they always manage to throw something fresh at you, if not with flair, then at least with concept. Like the fight at the end of the chase, there's some very fun stuff going on there. Azula fighting on like 2 feet of a ledge is sick, going through buildings like they're made of paper is fun. It's very entertaining. But Korra? Oh my god. Even when the plot is hitting one of its lower points, the action set pieces in this show basically never miss. Every season just gets better and better too. I remember seeing the fight between Tarlok and Korra in season 1 and thinking, holy shit, this is a big upgrade. And then you get to season 3 and just like, oh my god, what the fuck? Look at this animation! Speaking of the animation, I'll take this spot to bring that up too. Damn, this show is pretty. If it wasn't for the major improvements in animation here, these fight scenes would be a little less fun to look at. But the outstanding visuals are just like 5 cherries on top that make it even more hype to watch shit like this happen. Tenzin fighting Zahir, Su and Lin fighting Combustion Lady, Korra versus Zahir, Korra and Kuvira, Bolin and Varric escaping Kuvira. There are so many memorable and thrilling fights in this show that I think about all the time. Long story short, the action in this show really pleases my monkey brain. Okay, can we talk about what? No, I'm not talking about Korra right now. Whoa. Put the gun down, okay? We'll talk about Korra. I guess we're talking about Korra. Korra. A lot of people don't like her, and I kinda get it. She's arrogant and headstrong and cocky, and she's not really the brightest. Almost like she's the opposite of a certain bald monk you might know. Almost like she's supposed to be like that, and it leaves her lots of room to grow as a character. I know, there are valid reasons to dislike Korra. She doesn't get a lot of screen time to just be a friendly neighborhood avatar. Mostly she punches stuff really good and messes up her relationships a lot. But I find those things kind of endearing. She's seriously over her head a lot of the time, especially when it comes to social or diplomatic situations. She has some weak spots that show pretty frequently, and I really like that kind of thing in a protagonist. Like I mentioned before when talking about Amon, Korra is overconfident and a pretty damn capable bender. But to balance that out at the start, fighting is pretty much all she is good at. She's been stuck in the South Pole training for most of her life, fighting is all she's ever really known, and so she struggles with things like relationships or talking her way through things, and she especially sucks at keeping her emotions in check. This all, of course, leads to season 4, where that bravado of hers melts away and she's left as an unsure mess that can't even handle combat anymore. And so her diplomatic side has to grow until she overcomes that trauma, and through that journey she becomes a much more balanced person, finally ready to embrace responsibility and, well, her own life. Korra and Aang's journeys were both largely about accepting the responsibility that comes along with being the Avatar. The big difference is that Aang's conflict was largely physical. In order to stop the world from ending, he has to fight a guy calling himself the fucking Phoenix King. His responsibility was to save the world, just like the opening says. For Korra, the challenge is more based in the responsibility of things like being a role model and being someone that can remain strong for the people around her. She nails the human weapon part of being the Avatar, but it takes her 4 whole seasons to finally embrace the spiritual, thoughtful, and symbolic parts of being the Avatar. Don't get me wrong, I love Aang. I still think he's probably the better protagonist, but throughout the course of her story, you see Korra get absolutely dumpstered on. This brutal journey really reshapes her as a person by the end of the show, and I think it's a really satisfying journey to watch unfold. And before you say anything, yes, I know, Aang literally dies, but Korra gets her bending taken away, gets the Avatar spirit ripped out of her, and she gets metal poison forced through the fucking pores in her skin, which physically and emotionally cripples her. She definitely goes through some fucking trauma. And when she's truly broken by this built-up trauma and can't find a way out, she doesn't just get a pep talk or train until she's strong enough and then she's the champion. She has to look within herself, face her fears and her trauma, and hope that she comes out of it in one piece. And when she does, you feel a little proud of her. I connect with Korra as a character in a way that a lot of people don't, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. I may sound like an idiot to you, but I think her character arc over the 4 seasons we get with her is great. Would I change some things? Yes, but this is the positive video, where we talk about the things that make me feel warm and fuzzy or get me fucking pumped, and Korra is both. So yeah, I like Korra. You wanna put the gun down and let me talk about Zahir now? Oh, thank you. Wow, nice gunman. Zahir is not a perfect villain, but I'll be damned if he isn't a compelling one. His form of anarchy is, well, not anarchy, but I'll talk about that plenty in the next video. That said, it's still a perspective on the world that asks some strong questions. The Red Lotus is against order and against ultimate power. I mean, what happens if there's an evil avatar? Should all that power really belong to one person? Why allow a monarch to control a kingdom as big as the Earth Kingdom? Why let the four nations hold such hard control over their citizens? Well, I don't think the answer to this question is just kill them all and have no government. I also don't think all these questions are easily answered. Kyoshi tore a piece of a continent off. That kind of power would make Uncle Ben have a heart attack. You can understand why the Red Lotus sees these things as harmful to the good of humanity. It's not really far-fetched. He pursues his idea of true freedom relentlessly, believing that the ends justify the means. The ends in this case being to kill a few political figures, kidnap some airbenders, and dismantle the world government. What makes Zahir extra interesting, though, are the things that are more unique to him. The traits that his teammates don't have. The way he ties his beliefs into the teachings of the air nomads, for instance. He repeats verses from an air nomad poem, seeking to let go his earthly tether and enter the void, the ultimate form of freedom. Thing is, that earthly tether of his is the person he loves most. When Pali dies, at first, he's in anguish, and then he realizes that she was the one thing holding him to this earth, and he can finally let go. Or how in tune he is with the spirits, how dedicated he is to his cause, and how he never really feels hateful. He truly just believes what he's doing is the right thing, which honestly makes him scarier. His conversations with Korra, including the one in Season 4, really show off his philosophical identity and how contemplative he truly is. It's not an act, this man just lives and dies for what he believes in. He's kinda like Thanos, except this just came out. It's kind of like Thanos. Fuck, Jesus Christ. He's kind of like Thanos, except this came out 4 years before Infinity War. He also gives us this insight into airbending's capabilities that Aang would have never provided. He flies, sucks the air out of someone's lungs, and pulls off some insanely aggressive moves that show his style of bending is very unique to him. He's almost scarier than Amon just because of how capable he is mentally and physically, while remaining pretty humble the whole time. Amon could still kick his ass, but Zahir has something to die for, and that really takes his intimidation to the next level. Amon's strengths as a villain lie in how powerful he is, as well as his backstory and motivations. But Zahir's backstory doesn't even matter. Everything we need to know about him is demonstrated by his presence on screen. His cunning, his calculated thinking, and everything I mentioned in this segment is displayed with natural subtlety, and I fucking love that. Anything else I have to say about Zahir will be in the next video, but I do think he's one of my favorite villains of all time. Anyway, let's talk about Kuvira. I'm gonna be honest, Kuvira is the... Fuck. Jesus Christ, I can't fucking talk today. Kuvira is the villain I have the least to say about. That isn't to say she's bad, she's just less layered than the other antagonists Korra provides. Except for that one guy, but we're gonna talk about him next video. She's just a fascist dictator girl boss who is very, very strong. She has a powerful on-screen presence and her dialogue is never really straightforward. You always get the feeling she's not saying what she truly means and that she has a very well put together image she's hiding behind. There's no question if she's a badass. She takes down Korra like it's nothing. The only time she's ever in danger of losing is against the Avatar state, which is like, yeah, of course you lose to that. Her motivations are solid. She starts off truly wanting to help her kingdom. She stepped up, not understanding why Sue wouldn't want that responsibility, and the power very quickly got to her head. I guess you could say she's the most sympathetic fascist out there, which isn't saying much. But unlike with Zahir and Amon, Kuvira lacks a lot of moral ambiguity, which is fair considering, like I said, you know, fascist. But the gray of those villains is what made them so engaging, interesting, and layered. I don't know, she works. I don't have much else to say, and this is already a pretty long video, so let's do a lightning round of the other stuff I like. Bolin is funny, and I like his arc in Season 4. Mako's stiff attitude is pretty fun in contrast to the others. The overall theme and aesthetic of Republic City is a really fun contrast to the world we saw in Avatar. Tenzin is a great flawed mentor, and I really like how he realizes Aang could have been a better father. That's a nice touch. There's no reason Aang would have been perfect. He wasn't perfect in his own show. I like that. Aang's other kids are fine. I don't really feel anything negative for them. Seeing Iroh in the spirit world is the perfect form of fan service. Jinora is pretty cool, and I like seeing a super spiritual airbender. All the metal bending stuff in this show is awesome, and so is lava bending. I also really like the beginning of Season 2 before it transforms into poopy poop poo. Hey, what's up? It's B. Drew again. I I forgot about a few things that I wanted to mention. So I'm recording this like a few days into the editing process, and I just wanted to say this last second because I felt bad for not doing that. I really like Zahir's whole crew. Water Arm Lady is super sick. Magma bending, like I said, very cool. Combustion Lady is also cool. Combustion bending is a very good idea. I like that they brought it back. It's very cool. I really like that they made the Earth Queen like a bad person. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I like the whole plot in Ba Sing Se of her like abducting the airbenders. It's like, yeah, Ba Sing Se is like still pretty shady. I like Zuko. I also do just overall really like the humor of this show, like 75% of the time at least, which, you know, is actually an insane batting average. You would be in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, it's not bad. I like Lin. I love Pabu. My hottest take is that I think I actually like Pabu more than I like Momo. I don't know. He's just really cute. Yeah. If there's anything else I forgot about that I like actually feel like mentioning, maybe I'll just comment it or something. But, you know, I gotta finish this video. So, you know, yeah. And that's the video, friends. Second video should come out in like a couple weeks, I think, and then we get to have fun and be complete haters. If there's something or someone I didn't mention, it'll either be in that video or I just don't really feel strongly about it, and I don't want to type words about something I don't care about. Leave a like, comment your thoughts, and hit that funny red button. Oh, and hit the bell if you want to get notified when the next video drops. Maybe follow me on Twitter? Maybe. Well, it was worth a shot. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.